Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Fan Boss Frequency Short. My name is Chris. I'm your host, and if you'd like to learn more about the show or see other episodes, feel free to visit our website at thefanboss.com. That's thefanboss.com. Or if you would like to leave us a message on our listener hotline, visit 855 the number 4 and the word podcast. That's 855 the number 4 podcast. So I hope you're having a good day. And if your day's just getting started, man, I hope you have a great rest of your day. So something that's kind of been on my heart lately, because I've seen a lot of people kind of going through some things. I was scrolling through the internet the other day, and I hit the different social media platforms, kind of see what's going on out there, and take the world's temperature and see what a hot topic is, and how people are promoting their brands and products and so forth. So the digital world we live in today has turned every street corner and office into a potential broadcast studio. And that means the margin for error has never been thinner. We're living in an era where cameras are constantly rolling, and there's often a segment of the audience that is simply waiting for a leader of a business or a leader of an organization to simply stumble. It creates a high stakes environment where one heated moment or one poorly phrased post can overshadow years of your hard work and community service. And let's be real, building an online presence you can actually be proud of starts with the realization that your digital footprint is the modern version of your handshake, and it needs to be just as firm and professional as the real thing. So when you're a person of influence or you're in a business that people depend on, you kind of become a natural target for criticism, and sometimes that criticism is far from fair. It's incredibly tempting to jump into the comments and defend your honor when you know for a fact that you're right and the other person is wrong. Most importantly, their perception about you and your hard work is wrong. But the first step to rising above the controversy is mastering the art of the pause. And this is something I kind of struggled with in the beginning, because when somebody would make a comment that wasn't pleasing or I didn't like, I would jump in there and just want to, tackle them and, kind of shut it down that way. But the truth is, you have to recognize that the internet thrives on escalation. And by reacting with emotion, you're simply giving the fire more oxygen. Professionalism online isn't about being perfect. It's about being disciplined enough to realize that not every invitation to an argument needs to be accepted. And I've seen a lot of this recently with local businesses where former employees will say, has anybody else had this fill in the blank problem? Or a patron, restaurants seem to be famous for it around here, but a patron will say, hey, I was at such and such and I had a terrible experience. And, it may be a situation where, they just kind of had an off night. I mean, it happens to the best of us, right? So one of the most effective ways to overcome being a target is to lean into the radical transparency before the conflict even starts. So if you spend your time consistently sharing the values of your business and the stories of the people you serve, you kind of build a reservoir, I guess you would say, of goodwill that acts as a shield during the storm. So when people already know your character because they see you showing up every day, it becomes much harder for a single bit of content or context, I should say, or a clip or something negative could be taken out of context. You want your track record to be so loud that the noise of the internet can't really drown, can kind of, drown it out. It's not really, it's noise. And we've talked about how noise can interfere with businesses and daily goals and so forth. I would also say another vital step is to focus on solutions rather than defense. If it's a genuine issue that is raised online, instead of getting defensive or litigating the details in a public forum, take the conversation offline. And that way, you can show the world that you're not going to air the dirty laundry or the things by addressing those problems directly with the person involved on social media or in the courtroom of public opinion. People think about those things when I read business owners responding, and I'm like, ooh, I wish I would have said that. Because I know how it can impact their business, and how the consumer, who has lots of choices and can do lots of research, will take that and, not knowing the situation, can potentially use it against you. So let's shift the narrative from a public spat to a demonstration of leadership. When taking it offline, you prove that you're more interested in doing the right thing for that customer and for the end user than winning points in an internet contest. Ultimately, rising above the noise requires you to keep your eyes on the mission. When you're focused on providing the best communications technology and supporting the safety of your community, the distractions of the digital world start to feel very small. We're working to build a brand that stands the test of time by staying consistent and, keeping our cool, even when, the cameras are pointed our way. Professionalism is a choice you make every single day. You hit the post button, whether it's on social media, whether it's an email, whether you're having a phone call or a conversation. And it's really the only way to ensure that you build your legacy and that your legacy remains intact for the long haul. So I just wanted to kind of address this because I've seen quite a bit of this on the internet locally recently. And I understand the knee jerk behind it. But again, as business owners, we can, rise above the internet insanity by just, taking offline and answering those questions privately. And we saw this with a delivery driver recently where the woman was like, oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, yada, yada. And she blasted her. And the delivery driver actually saw it and went back and approached her approached her the same way she was approached on social media. Okay, bet. She went live. And again, that's something that could have been avoided, with simple communication. And I think, a lot of times people who make mistakes in business, we don't do it on purpose. If there's a customer service issue, sometimes it's not even something we think about until it becomes a problem. And then once, we learn of a specific issue, I don't mind that a problem happened. I just want to know how we solve that in the future, because the last thing I want to have to deal with is somebody, coming down the pike with that same problem down the road saying, hey, I'm running into this, I'm running into that. And if we run into something ourselves, if I have a consistent issue with a vendor, we get rid of the vendor. It's just that simple. We find an alternative, because at the end of the day, if I'm not happy dealing with constant complaints from multiple clients, those clients are not happy every time they have to call me and get that problem solved. So I hope this kind of gives you a little bit of insight, kind of how to, deal with the public, because the public perception is very dangerous for your business if it's not, you're not controlling the narrative and doing the things that it takes to be positive. So if you found value in this, visit thefamboss.com and let us know what you thought of the show. You can also visit our listener hotline at 855 podcast. That's 855 podcast. And leave us a comment. And maybe if we like it enough, we'll throw it on the air and you can be part of the show as well. Thanks so much for listening and for your time. Until next time, stay safe and have fun.